Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Ryland Grace awoke in a strange white oval bed, his memories a blank canvas. He was surrounded by tubes, electrodes, and the unnerving presence of two robotic arms suspended from the ceiling. A disembodied computer voice repeatedly quizzed him with simple math problems, a bizarre initiation into his new reality. As his strength gradually returned, he discovered two other identical beds, each containing a desiccated corpse. Panic set in as he realized the extent of his isolation. Driven by a primal urge to escape, Ryland managed to reach a hatch in the ceiling. Beyond it lay a fully equipped laboratory, a stark contrast to his sterile prison. Though his memory remained elusive, he found himself instinctively familiar with the equipment, a scientist's intuition guiding his hands. Another hatch beckoned, but it was locked, requiring a key he didn't possess, his own name. Food arrived in the form of nutrient paste dispensed from tubes, and with sustenance came renewed vigor. He attempted to climb the ladder again, only to fall and be gently returned to his bed by the ever-watchful robot arms. With each waking cycle, Ryland felt his strength returning, his body surprisingly toned despite his prolonged immobility. A breakthrough came with a sudden, vivid memory. He was in a diner, reading an email about a mysterious infrared anomaly emanating from the sun, dubbed the Petrova line by its discoverer, Dr. Irina Petrova. This memory was a breadcrumb, a hint that his amnesia held a connection to this cosmic enigma. Another memory fragment surfaced. He was arguing with a colleague, Marissa, about the implications of the Petrova line, the ominous possibility that it was stealing energy from the sun and dooming Earth to a catastrophic ice age. The memory faded, leaving him with a growing sense of dread. He tried to reach the hatch again, this time successfully. Entering the lab, he saw the bodies of his crewmates, no longer just desiccated forms, but figures he recognized, though their names remained elusive. Grief washed over him, the realization that he was the sole survivor of a mission gone terribly wrong. He managed to recall the word crew. He wasn't alone. He was a crew of one, the last remnant of a desperate gamble. Driven by his awakening instincts, Ryland conducted experiments, measuring the room's gravity with makeshift tools. The results were unsettling. The gravity was too high for Earth. He was on a spaceship, hurtling through the vastness of space. His crewmates hadn't succumbed to illness, but to the perils of long-term induced comas, a risky strategy employed for the journey. He recalled another memory, this one of a bustling classroom. He was a teacher, Dr. Ryland Grace, sharing his passion for science with eager young minds. The computer, now recognizing his name, granted him access to the next level. It was the ship's cockpit, a dizzying array of monitors and controls. The central screen displayed a large image of a star, accompanied by unsettling data. The star wasn't the sun. The velocity readings were far too high for any planetary orbit. Ryland was in another solar system, light years from home, on a trajectory he couldn't yet comprehend. More memories flooded back, this time of a frantic project back on Earth. Project Arclight, a desperate attempt to understand the Petrova line. A probe sent to Venus to collect samples of the anomaly, returning with microscopic black dots that appeared to be alive. Ryland's elation at the discovery of alien life was tempered by the knowledge that these microbes, dubbed astrophage, were consuming the sun's energy, their population growing exponentially. The memory morphed into another. He was being recruited by Eva Straat, a formidable Dutch administrator from the Petrova task force. She recognized his expertise in unconventional biology, his controversial theories about life existing without liquid water. He was drafted, against his will, into the fight for humanity's survival. Back in the present, another memory surfaced. He was in a high-security lab examining the astrophage samples. They defied conventional analysis, resistant to heat, impervious to X-rays. In a fit of frustration, he poked one with a nanosyringe, and it disintegrated, revealing its composition, mostly water. His groundbreaking theories about anhydrous life were shattered, replaced by the chilling realization that these water-based microbes were thriving on the sun. Ryland finally understood his mission. He was aboard the Hail Mary, an interstellar ark sent to Tau Ceti, a star mysteriously immune to the astrophage plague. His task, discover the secret of Tau Ceti's resilience and save Earth. but he was alone, his crewmates lost to the perils of the journey. He explored the Hail Mary, discovering a storage compartment filled with supplies. Among them were uniforms, each bearing the mission patch and the name of a crew member. He found his own uniform, Grace. Donning it, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Then Ryland discovered the ship's true propulsion system, astrophage. The very microbes threatening Earth were also the fuel powering his vessel, their incredible energy storage capacity harnessed for interstellar travel. He explored the ship's systems, discovering 4 small probes, beetles, designed to carry data back to Earth. His mission was a one-way trip, a sacrifice for humanity's future. His focus shifted to Tau Ceti. The star was similar to the Sun, but the planets orbiting it were alien and unknown. He activated the Petrovoscope, an instrument designed to detect the Petrova wavelength. A red arc appeared, a Petrova line emanating from Tau Ceti. There was astrophage here, but it wasn't consuming the star. Why? Suddenly, a flash of light on the screen. Another ship, a bizarre triangular craft, materialized, its engines emitting the same Petrova wavelength. First contact. Ryland was not alone in this distant solar system. He exchanged signals with the alien vessel, a tentative conversation across the void. The alien ship, which Ryland nicknamed Blip A, sent a probe. Inside, a model of the local star system, including a miniature Petrova line. The aliens were from another infected star, 40 Eridani. They were here for the same reason, to understand Tau Ceti's immunity. Ryland responded, modifying the model to indicate his own origin, Saul. He tossed a piece of the Hail Mary's hull to the Blip A, a gesture of trust and a request for further communication. The aliens agreed, sending another probe with instructions for creating a connecting tunnel. He met Rocky, the Iridian, a 5-limbed spider-like creature with rocky skin and an ammonia-based biology. They established a rudimentary language, using musical chords and gestures. Rocky explained that his crew had perished from a mysterious illness, leaving him alone on a desperate mission. Ryland discovered that Iridians had never encountered radiation, their homeworld shielded by a powerful magnetic field. He realized that Rocky's crew had succumbed to radiation poisoning, their bodies unprepared for the harsh realities of interstellar space. He advised Rocky on radiation protection, a grim reminder of the dangers lurking in the void. Rocky, in turn, shared his knowledge of Tau Ceti. He had been in the system for decades, painstakingly mapping the planets and observing the astrophage. He identified a planet, Tau Ceti E, where the Petrova line was strongest, a potential breeding ground for the astrophage. Ryland, inspired by Rocky's resourcefulness, proposed a daring plan: collect a sample of the planet's atmosphere. They constructed a 10-kilometer xenonite chain equipped with a sampling probe. Using the Hail Mary's engines to maintain a precarious altitude, they lowered the chain into Tau Ceti E's atmosphere, the engine's exhaust creating a fiery trail in the sky. The probe collected a sample and Ryland retrieved it, a perilous EVA in the planet's gravity. Analysis of the sample revealed a complex ecosystem, not just astrophage but a plethora of other life forms. Among them, a predator, a microscopic amoeba that consumed astrophage. They named it Taumoeba. Hope surged. A natural enemy of the astrophage, a potential solution for both Earth and Arid. They bred Taumoeba, cultivating it in tanks. But tests showed it couldn't survive in the atmospheres of Venus or Threeworld, the planets where astrophage thrived in their respective star systems. Dejected, they searched for another solution. Ryland, recalling Earth's use of antibiotics, proposed a radical idea: evolve Taumoeba to resist nitrogen, the element present in Venus and Threeworld's atmospheres. They created a series of tanks, each with increasing levels of nitrogen, a Darwinian gauntlet to select the hardiest strains. Success. Taumoeba 82.5, a nitrogen-resistant strain, emerged, but a new problem arose. The Taumoeba had also evolved to permeate xenonite, escaping their containment and consuming the Hail Mary's fuel. Rocky's ship, built primarily of xenonite, was now derelict, its fuel devoured. Ryland, faced with a terrible choice, made a decision. He launched the Beetles, each carrying Taumoeba 82.5 and data for Earth, a message of hope across the light years. Then he set course for Rocky, a rescue mission for his friend and a chance to save Arid. He reached the Blip A, finding Rocky alive but stranded. He transferred Rocky and his essential supplies to the Hail Mary, a bittersweet reunion. They set course for Arid, Rocky's homeworld, a journey fraught with uncertainty. Ryland's food supplies were dwindling. The mission had only provisioned for a one-way trip. He faced starvation. Rocky, determined to repay his debt, suggested a solution: Tau Ceti. The very microbes that had caused the crisis might also be the key to Ryland's survival. Iridian scientists, aided by Ryland's knowledge, developed a process to make Tau Ceti palatable, a strange but necessary food source. They cloned Ryland's muscle tissue, providing him with a sustainable source of protein. He would live, though his return to Earth remained uncertain. Years passed on Arid. Ryland, older and wiser, received incredible news. Sol's luminance had returned to normal. Earth had been saved. The Tau Ceti, carried by the beetles, had done their work. He had succeeded. Rocky, his homeworld safe, asked Ryland a profound question. Would he return to Earth or remain on Arid? Ryland, his mission complete, contemplated his future. He had saved 2 worlds, forged an unlikely friendship across the stars, and faced his own mortality. His journey had just begun. If you enjoyed this book breakdown, please consider liking this video and subscribing to get notified when we post our next book.